The terminal can be a developer's best friend, but sometimes those default commands don't quite cut it. Today I'm going to show you 5 CLI tools that I've installed that really improve my experience and how they fit into my workflows. Whether you're a command line pro or just use it when you have to, these tools will make your life easier. First up, a command that is going to help you with all other commands. Too long, didn't read. If you've ever needed help with a command, you may have used the manual pages, or you've just jumped straight to Google or ChatGPT. For example, if I wanted to find out about the list command, I can run man and then ls, and that's going to bring up the manual for the list command. You can see it's got the name, the description, and then it has all of the options we can use, and it's in quite a long and boring format, and it doesn't really show you how you can piece these options together. That's where TLDR can really help out. TLDR is a community project to provide better and more concise documentation. So if I quit out of this, all I need to do is replace man there with TLDR and then type in the command that I want to look up, so list again, and if I hit enter and I scroll up to the top, you can see that this is all the documentation we need. It shows us the description, list directory contents, pretty simple, and then it jumps straight into real world practical examples. So you can see if I want to list files one per line, it's just ls-1. If I want to list all of them, ls-a, and you see how this can really help you, especially with the fact that it pieces the options together to show you some common commands that you would run. Another really cool thing about its syntax is this square brackets here. So you can see all, and then it has the square brackets of A, and that's because that's exactly what the option would be. So you can see A down there correlates to the square brackets A here, and the same with long here and the L, and then human readable with the H down here. It's really useful if I've just forgotten the way to run a command, and I don't want to context switch with Google or GPT. I can find everything that I want in this documentation here. TLDR supports pretty much all of the commands that you're going to be running. You can actually check all of the ones that it does by doing TLDR-A, and you can see it's a super long list, and as I mentioned, it's community driven, so these are being constantly added as well. And you can actually force it to update by the online one by doing TLDR-update, and that will fetch any new documentation online and download it for your local usage. In fact, all of the next tools I'm going to show you have TLDR support, so try it out as you go. Next up, we have disk usage/free. Now you may be used to the default command of df to show you file system information like disk space usage, but this output can definitely be improved. So if I run df and then the human readable format, you can see we get a bit of a table of our file systems and then the size and then how much we have used up. If we go ahead and use duf though, you can see it comes out in a much nicer format. We get this nice and organized table here with clear columns, and then we also get some color-coded information, which is super helpful to find exactly what you're looking for at a quick glance. You can also see it's separated out my local devices and then my special devices into two different tables. You can do some more powerful stuff with this though. For example, we could run daf --sort, and then let's say we want to sort by usage, and you can see it sorts our tables there by the availability or the percentage used based on whichever column you typed in. You can also just look for your local devices. All you have to do is daf -- only and then local if you don't want to show that special device table, and you can see there it just prints out that one table for us. If you want to see some more command options, we could run TLDR on duf. As you can see, it shows you all of the common examples that you'd be running, like daf --all, daf, and then the path to the directory to find those specific mount points, and then you can sort and a load of other options. A really powerful one that I like is you can actually print this out into a JSON format. So all you have to do is daf --JSON, and you can see it comes out in a JSON format. This is actually super useful. I've used this before to go ahead and get this information out into a file so that I can use it with other applications. Up next is a really nice tool called bat. It's essentially better cat. The headline feature of bat is syntax highlighting with support for most languages. So in this folder here, I have an index.js. Let's go ahead and use the old cat command, so cat index.js, and you see it's just going to print out what's in that file in this nice boring way. If we go ahead and improve this though by using bat, so we can say bat and then index.js, hit enter, you can see it comes out in a much more readable format. We have our line numbers on the left there, we have the file name at the top, and then we have syntax highlighted code showing up as well. Another really cool feature is it also shows you the git diff here. So you can see it's showing us which lines have been added since the last commit. So this one that says subscribe to BetterStack has been added, and it will also show you the ones that have changed and also ones that have been deleted as well. Has a couple of cool options. You can essentially customize that output to look whichever way you want. You could remove the line numbers, change the syntax highlighting to a different language if it hasn't automatically picked it up. But you can also do cool things like highlight specific lines as well. So if I highlight line, let's say 10 to 12, and then we run that on index.js again, you can see it's showing up with a nice highlight there. I've actually used this to send screenshots to people as it just looks really nice and clean. Another cool thing you can do is you can actually get it to show you some hidden characters. So if I go ahead and do bat and then -a for all, and then we do index.js, you can see that syntax highlighting is going to go away, but it's going to show us things like spaces and tabs and then the end of file marker there. Super useful if you have one of those weird characters that ends up breaking your script. You can really quickly find it by using that command there. We go ahead and run TLDR on this to see a few more options. You can see you get plenty of options like choosing whether you want to remove those line numbers, which language you want to use, list all of the languages it supports pretty much all of them that you'd want, and also add in some things like highlighting, changing the style, whether you want it to have the pager, a load of cool options. As I said, highly recommend it. It's way better than the boring old cat. One way I find bat super powerful though is in combination with our next tool. This tool is the most powerful on the list and it can be an absolute game changer. I'm talking about Fuzzy Finder. Now its primary use case is a really powerful file finder with fuzzy matching, but it can be used in so many cool ways that go beyond this. Let's start out with the basics. So what happens if I just run the fzf command here? As you can see, I was within the source directory there. It's going to list out all of the files that it's found within that directory and any nested ones. So that's 18,164 files that it's already indexed. Now I can get searching with fuzzy matching. If I type in index.js, for example, you can see it really quickly finds all of the index.js's that I have within that folder. Now we can make this a lot better. This is honestly like 1% of the power of Fuzzy Finder. If we go ahead and combine this with bat that we just looked at, we can get a really nice experience when searching our files. All we have to do is run this command here. So what we're doing here is we're saying fzf, then -- preview, so how we want to preview our files, and then we're doing the command that we actually want to preview it with. And in this case, I'm using bat. So here with bat, I'm just saying I want the style to have our numbers, and then I always want it to be colored as well. And then these brackets here are just to make sure that we get the input of fzf. So we go ahead and run this command and hit enter. Something really powerful happens here on the right. As you can see, at the moment, it has a bat warning because you can't actually look inside of a .ds store file. But if I now use the arrow keys to navigate up to some various other files, you can see we get a really nice preview of them with that syntax highlighting and the numbers as well, thanks to the bat command. Really awesome when you're trying to find something within a file. It's super nice. As I said, really powerful. And again, we're probably at like 2% of the power of Fuzzy Finder now as well. It's such a good utility. So as I said, its primary use case is a fuzzy file finder, but its functionality actually goes way beyond that. It can be used with pretty much any type of list, and I have two really awesome examples of how I use this. One of them is in the history. So we just pipe the output of history through fzf here and hit enter. We get a really nice fuzzy searching for our shell history. So I know I ran that command like last week, but I can't remember exactly when I did it, and I don't want to press the up arrow 1,000 times. So I can now really powerfully search for the exact Docker pull command that I ran. The other list that I like to use it on is the running processes. So if I go ahead and run ps and then aux like so, this is going to list out all of the running processes. But as you can see, this would be a nightmare to scroll up and find the one that I am looking for. So instead, if we go ahead and just pipe this through fzf like so, we can now begin to search this to find that exact process. But this can be even more powerful. This here is actually an alias that I've set up using Fuzzy Finder on my shell. As you can see here, we're using that command for the running processes and then the Fuzzy Finder, and then we're passing it through the command that can end the process for us. So if I hit enter on this now, I could go ahead and search through this, and now all I need to do is use the arrow keys, find the process that I want to end, and I can hit enter and it will work for me. It's essentially my own powerful task manager. I could honestly spend all day showing you all of the cool ways I found that you can use Fuzzy Finder. There is seemingly no limit to what it helps with. It is the ultimate tool. In fact, the next tool I'm going to show you is even better when combined with Fuzzy Finder. Number 5 is Zoxide or Zoxide. It's a smarter CD command. It's going to help you browse your directories in a quicker and easier way. Now, the power of it really comes after time. When you first start using it, it's just going to be like CD. So let's say I want to go down some files. So if I go ahead and go into my source folder, let's go into YouTube, and then let's go into my Winston demo folder like so and hit enter. As I said, it works exactly the same way that CD does. But what it's doing under the hood is it's actually keeping a database of the directories you browse to, and it keeps track of how often you browse to each one and the last time that you used it. So once you've used it a few times, let's say I opened up my terminal again and I was back at sort of the top level folder here. If I wanted to go back into that nested Winston demo folder, I could actually just use Z and then just type in Winston-demo like so and hit enter. And as you can see, I didn't have to type in any of that nested structure of source/YouTube. It's remembered, it's looked through my history, and it's found a match for Winston-demo, and it's taken me right there. This is super awesome when you're dealing with a really nested folder structure. So what happens if I have multiple directories with the same name? You can see here in my home directory, I have an example one, and then I also have an example directory under source, YouTube, Winston demo, and example. If I go ahead and just use Z and then example, it's just going to take me to the one here that's a level down, so the one within my home directory. However, if I wanted to go to that one that was under that long path of source/YouTube, I don't have to type the full thing out. What I can do instead is I can say Z source and then space example, and now that's just going to look for the directory that matches source and then also example. Hit enter on this, and you can see I'm taken straight to it. I didn't have to type out that long path of YouTube/Winston-demo. Now, if you're not able to find your directory that way, this is where we can combine it with Fuzzy Finder. If you have Fuzzy Finder installed, it will automatically do this for you. All you need to do now is run the Z interactive command, so ZI, and hit enter. As you can see, we now get all of our directory history, and then we can use Fuzzy Finder to search through it for the exact folder that we meant. And then we could use the arrow keys, hit enter, and we'd be taken straight to it. Now, if you're wondering what that number on the left there is, that's actually its ranking. So when it encounters multiple folders with the same base name, it's going to rank them on a thing called frequency. So a combination of the frequency and the recency of access. So then when I type Z example, it's just going to take me to the highest ranked one. And in that case, it's the one with the rank of 60. There are actually commands you can use to artificially increase or decrease this rank as well, if you want to. There we go, with those 5 tools, your terminal experience should get much better. There's loads more I could have included in here, so comment down below your favorites and maybe we'll make a follow-up video. While you're down there, leave a like and subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.